This episode of Harvey Brownstone Interviews is brought to you by the Harvey Brownstone Talk Show Blend Coffee, available at hollywoodblends.com. Everyone's saying it's the best coffee they've ever tasted. Why not give it a try and see for yourself?
Hello, everyone. I'm Harvey Brownstone, and today's special guest is an iconic and beloved actor who has been immortalized by his unforgettable portrayal of the Incredible Hulk. He started out as a highly accomplished weightlifter and bodybuilder who, after winning the Mr. America title, won his first Mr. Universe title at the age of 21 and went on to win the title again the following year. He caused an international sensation in the popular 1977 documentary Pumping Iron, and he also briefly played professional football for the Toronto Argonauts. In addition to playing the Hulk on TV for 5 seasons and in 3 TV movies, The Incredible Hulk Returns, The Trial of the Incredible Hulk, and The Death of the Incredible Hulk, our guest went on to star in a number of movies, including Hercules, Sinbad of the Seven Seas, Frogtown II, I Love You Man, The Misery Brothers, Ping, From Heaven to Hell, and of course, his very famous cameo appearances as a security guard in the 2003 movie Hulk and the 2008 movie The Incredible Hulk, in which he also provided the voice of the Hulk. He's also guest starred on numerous TV shows, including The Fall Guy, The New Mike Hammer, The King of Queens, Con Man, Adventure Time, and the 2022 miniseries, The Offer. In 1997, he was featured in the dynamic documentary entitled Stand Tall, about his sensational return to professional bodybuilding at the age of 43. Our guest is also the author of 3 best-selling books entitled The Incredible Lou Ferrigno, His Story with His Step-by-Step Training Program and Special Techniques for Building a Superb Body, published in 1982, Lou Ferrigno's Guide to Personal Power, Bodybuilding, and Fitness, which came out in 1996, and a terrific book published in 2003 called My Incredible Life as the Hulk. He also wrote the foreword to the 2011 book by Patrick A. Jankowitz entitled You Wouldn't Like Me When I'm Angry, A Hulk Companion. When he's not busy making movies and TV shows, he is constantly in demand at huge Comic-Con conventions around the world, where he greets thousands of fans who wait in line for hours for the chance to say hello and get an autograph and a selfie. In 2017, our guest was inducted into the International Sports Hall of Fame, and in 2018, he was appointed a member of the President's Council on Sports, Fitness, and Nutrition. I am delighted and honored to welcome the one and only Lou Ferrigno to our show. Lou, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. My pleasure. Thanks for that wonderful introduction, and great talking to you.
Lou, I know you had a lot of obstacles to overcome as a child. I've heard you say before that your motivation as a child to be athletic and your love of superheroes came from being so badly bullied by the other kids. How did that experience as a child impact the man that you've become?
Well, you see, close to birth, I lost maybe like 85% of my hearing due to an ear infection. So growing up, I was extremely introverted. So I was not the perfect son when I was born. I had to deal with the rejection. So to deal with the pain, I was very upset. What attracted me was power. I used to read comic books like the Superman, the Hulk, to escape from my imagination, like an antidote for my pain. So at time when I read these comic books, I was fascinated, G versus E, the power issue. And a friend of mine, they had weights and everything. I wanted to work out because I just knew something that made me feel good if I could do something to strengthen my body, because I was bullied as a kid. People call me Deaf Mute, Deaf Louie. So I didn't want to feel sorry for myself, because basically, to me, I wanted to find something that I could do something, because I realized at a young age that power was the obsession for me. It was my passion.
Do you think that your performance of the Hulk was a way of being healed from being victimized as a child?
Yeah, that's a great question, because throughout my life, I mean, basically, I got a chance to do the things that you can't do in real life, what the Hulk does. But at the same time, I was able to show and portray the sensitivity and the anger that I experienced in my life through the character.
Now, I know your father was a lieutenant with the NYPD. How did he react to your being bullied as a child?
Well, one time I got a beating. I went home. I cried to him. He gave me another beating. He said, "Don't ever come home again if you can't fight for yourself."
That's pretty tough.
Yeah, he was a tough New York cop. And what's funny is that growing up, so I had a brother and sister. So he basically criticized me because I was not the perfect son. So he felt like I had to carry his pain. So basically, growing up, I just had difficulty because it was an extreme love and hate relationship with my father. So what I've done, I've taken the best from him instead of dealing with the negativity.
Did your dad live long enough to see you become successful?
Yes, he did, but he would never brag about me to my face. He would brag about me to other people. So basically, to me, it was always about, and he became very jealous of me because while I was growing up, because of the hearing situation, he said, if you had your hearing, you could be this, you could be this, be that. All the dreams I've had, my vision, I've overcame that. I achieved it. So basically, I wanted to have a good relationship with my father, but he was a very disturbed, very angry man. So basically, you could choose your friends, but you can't choose your parents.
That's so true. So he never ever told you, son, I'm so proud of you.
Never.
Well, you were a big fan of Hercules when you were a kid. So, how did it feel for you to play Hercules twice in the movies?
Well, it was great because for me, one time I was in the kitchen when I was a little kid. There was the newspapers open. I see this picture of Hercules C. Reeve. There was a two-page spread in the New York Daily News. And I kept looking at this picture. So my father took me to the movie to see the original Hercules. So when I saw that movie, I said to myself, this is it. This is what I want to be. And then I had a chance to play Hercules later on.
I've heard you say that George Reeves, who played Superman on TV, was your biggest role model as a child. Why, Lou?
Well, because, growing up in school, like I mentioned before, I was obsessed with powers. I would rush home from school to turn the TV on to watch the Superman series. Because to me, when you're young, you think Superman's real. Like I was like maybe like 9, 10, 11 years old. But what I love about the show, I love about the courage, the determination, and his power, and especially that, that the people respect him, the public, more like a leadership, like a hero. I want to emulate, be like him. And then over the years, I've learned about George Reeves because he goes way back as an actor. He was in the movie. Did you know he was in the movie Gone with the Wind? He played
Yes.
Wind. Also, he was a black belt karate. But the way he moved in the TV series, what he really did his own stunts. So I mean, the guy's very athletic. But I just love. I can't. It's almost like the Hulk. When you see the Hulk, Bill Bixby, the white eyes, and then you see the Hulk. The same thing with Superman. When you see Lois Lane in trouble, then suddenly you see jumping out the window. You know it's going to be victory.
I think it's so significant that you really identified with Superman because the one thing about Superman to me when I was a kid watching was that he was very kind.
Yeah.
He was strong and he was a hero, but he was very, very kind. And you are very, very kind. Everyone who's I've ever spoken to who's known you always mentions that word in connection with you. That's the first thing they say is he's such a kind man. So I think you took the best of Superman and made it not just part of your acting persona, but part of who you are.
Well, I don't have an ego because basically I love all people, and no one's better than anybody. I mean, the janitor next door no better than the billionaire because I don't like people that have arrogance. I respect people because basically it's just the fact that I have nothing to prove. Some celebrities, some people, they're VIPs, they have to have an entourage, they have to squander and to display money and cars of a power issue. But for me, I was everybody to me, it's important. I mean, it doesn't matter where you come from. It's all about the kindness and look for the best in the person.
Well, that's what you've done. You're a very humble guy. Now, in the early 70s, Lou, when you were competing as a bodybuilder, did it ever occur to you that one day you would be an actor?
Not really, because I have a dream. I never thought about being an actor until I did the movie Pumping Iron. Because before then, because of my hearing and speech, I had difficulty speaking because I had a speech impediment, but with the hearing issue. And back then, it never crossed my mind because I knew I wouldn't have a chance on the acting game because everybody that acted at the time had perfect speech, perfect hearing. But then when Sylvester Stallone wrote Rocky, it kind of like broke down the barrier. Even Schwarzenegger when Arnold came along, he said because of my Austrian accent, so at least that they gave a chance to break into the film. So that's why I knew that when I did Pumping Iron, I love being in front of the camera. It's very natural for me. So when I did the Hulk series, They always said to me, do your thing. They never trained me, told me how to act like the Hulk. I just knew it came natural, the sensitivity. And called pantomime, that means acting without speaking. So that came natural for me. So I'll give to at least to show that pantomime. And then also it was a training platform for me when I did the series, watching Bill Bixby film, the other actors doing the dialogue, reading scripts.
Amazing. You know, I remember hearing Arnold Schwarzenegger saying once that when you go into acting after having been a professional athlete, it takes a long time to be respected as an actor within the Hollywood community. Do you agree with that, Lou?
Yes, because when I did the series, I was typecast. And with Arnold did Conan the Barbarian, I know some people, they saw him as one image of a bodybuilder with a sword, but he changed all that because he did the Terminator, the comedy. But it takes time because it takes time to know to train yourself as an actor, because I did take acting lessons. I did stage plays for years because I wanted to improve my craft as an actor. But see, me personally, what I've done, like 2.5 years ago, I received a cochlear implant. I worked so hard to be the best I could be within myself, maximize my personal power, because I don't believe competing with other people. I maximize what I have. That's the best you can do with yourself, because especially maximize your hearing situation, the speech situation, the physique situation, your environment situation. That to me, that's the more powerful thing you can give to yourself. And that's why I realized when I did the series, I was typecast, but I knew over time would change, because when I first did the TV series, people expected me after the Hulk, I might maybe get a regular job. They would say, you know, he's a big muscular guy, but he can't really speak that well. So basically, but I was happy to overcome all that.
And you sure did, Lou. You know, a lot of people may not realize that when you were cast as the Hulk, you had absolutely no experience as an actor. In fact, they already had an actor, Richard Kiel, playing the role when they were filming the pilot. But somehow, Lou, you just knew the character of the Hulk and everybody could see it. And they hired you and then they refilmed the pilot, which is almost unheard of in show business. Were you shocked when you got the part?
I was happy because I was nervous, because at the time, there was 6 weeks before the Mr. Olympia in 1977, which I was slated to win. I went to talk to some friends and some people, and I even went to say, Joe Weider, listen, I have this opportunity, but I couldn't be the Hulk at the same time train for the competition. But I made the choice to do the Hulk. But the interesting thing is, I never forget the first day when I went on the set. I see all the camera trucks, the studio. I mean, I was like in another world. I never acted before. And especially being painted green, taking direction. And then everything fell into place, because what fell into place is that the fact that I was very connected to the character of the Hulk. I knew that nobody could play that character better than me.
Well, that's really true. And when you were playing the Hulk, you had to be constantly expressing a lot of anger, but somehow you showed a lot of sensitivity to make the character likable. Was that difficult for you?
Very easy.
It was easy.
Very easy to show the sensitivity, because it's pantomime. I was able to show those emotion because, you know, you show the pain you've been through your life, the sensitivity. Like, for example, I love children. I love animals, especially that being kindness, like you mentioned, because I don't have a dark side to myself.
Even with a pretty tough upbringing, there's no dark side to you.
No, because I was a warrior. I was a fighter, because I never felt sorry for myself. And I was the kind of person that I love to take action, because I knew that if I just let everything just drift, I would just be basically, I would have gone the wrong direction. But I had to be a fighter. I had to fight harder than the average person to succeed. I mean, nobody's going to pat me on the back, but it was only me. And because basically in life is a battlefield. So basically for me, I know with the hearing situation, the speech situation, I just knew that I had to struggle. I had to work 3 times harder than the average person, because life for me was never easy, but I just love challenges.
Well, I'm patting you on the back now, Lou. I think you're just an incredible role model and so inspirational. And when you look back at the universal, enduring success of the Hulk over so many years and at least 3 generations, do you think that the appeal of that character is that all of us have a little bit of the Hulk inside us?
Yeah, definitely, because the nice thing is that the fact that the character's green, so every country embraces the characters. You see, every one of us has a superhero connection. That's why today you have comic convention, pop culture convention. They want to connect with your favorite celebrity. And the thing is that the fact that all of us inside we all feel like we have a little Hulk inside of us because a lot of things in life you can't do. Like, for example, you can't destroy public property, smashing cars, smashing window. But listen, the TV series, I equated that like I was in real life and got to do those things because that's the beauty about it. And the amazing thing is that every time I did a scene on the set, the crew would clap every time I did the scene. And I said to myself, after I was a little shy about the beginning, but I realized when they watch it, it's like they had a chance to do it, but I did it for them, their own frustration and anger.
Well, I remember one scene of the show where you had to flip a car over a cliff and the cable broke and you were still able to do it. Were there
Yes.
times when you felt like you actually were the Hulk?
Yes, because I was in the first world strongest man competition. I used to bench 560. I lifted 2,000 pounds. I won the steel bar event. I was very, very strong at my time. So basically, that's why I really believe at the Hulk, because I was one of the strongest men in the world back then. So that of course helped the actor and the character.
In your opinion, Lou, how much credit does Bill Bixby deserve for the success of the show?
Um, Probably close to 100% because Bill was perfect. He was perfect for the part. Even today, they had different Hulk movies, but nobody showed the intensity and the quality of acting like he did. Bill, it was a phenomenal actor. I've studied him. I watched every move he make. That guy, he was on the mark, on the cue, ready to shoot. The most professional actor I've ever worked with.
So, when you watch an episode of the show these days, what goes through your mind?
When I watch it, I go back in time. I remember the time I was filming that episode and the location where we were filming and all the different actors we had on the show. So basically, I want to watch it today because every episode had a latent and compelling message about life. Even till today, 50 years later, you learn something from the show, especially like David Banner, Bill Bixby. You want to take him in your house. He's a great friend to have. He's a doctor. And then there's the Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde situation. So that's when I watch it today. Some of the things I can't believe I did myself at the Hulk, especially with the water scene. I remember back then I had to use the grease makeup and I had to train myself to deal with the water scenes because the makeup was extremely uncomfortable. So when I watch it, like I say, I have no makeup on now, but I can watch the series. And it's amazing. I've done all those 90 episodes.
Do you ever wonder what your life would have been like if you had not been cast as the Hulk? What would you have done for a living if you'd not been an actor?
Probably maybe still competing with the bodybuilder. I probably would have won the Mr. Olympia title maybe 4 or 5 times, and then maybe open a gym, train people, which I've done, but probably a different way to make a living. I was a sheet metal apprentice for 4 years. I was a sheet metal journeyman. I personally didn't want to be in a factory my whole life, closed in and basically punching the clock. I wanted something more. I wanted something better because back then when I competed, I don't know if you know this, in pumping iron, me and Schwarzenegger, first prize was only $750. That was first prize. So we had to make a living. I mean, and the food wasn't cheap. But the thing is the fact that I wanted more than that. I knew that in my heart that I wanted to try to achieve my dreams because I've seen so many older people in my time when I was young. They always kept saying, if I was young, if I was young, I could have done this. I didn't want to feel like I'd be in the rocking chair someday and look back. I'll never be in a rocking chair, by the way, but look back and say, I should have. I'm an action taker. And the most important thing is that I embrace fear because a lot of people have fear. That's why they say the number one fear in life is public speaking. As a kid, I couldn't even speak, but now I speak in front of thousands of people, overcoming fear, motivating them. So it's all about the action you take for yourself because life is about choice.
You are so right. And like I said, you're the inspirational role model on so many levels. Now, you've done a lot of voice work as the Hulk over the years. And I would imagine that's very gratifying because they did not use your voice on the show. They used Ted Cassidy, the actor who played Lurch on The Addams Family. Did it bother you at that time that they didn't use your voice?
Yes, because I felt like if they used the voice for the whole, if I said a few words, he would sound primitive. Because I knew they should have, because I think the reason why they used the Hulk voice because when I was 26, I didn't have the depth of the voice I have now. But they chose Ted Cassidy because Ken Johnson, the producer of the show, he wants a Hulk when he gets angry, sound like a lion inside, like a deep voice. But now I did that for the movie. But yeah, I was hoping I'd do the voice for the Hulk, some dialogue. But basically, it was out of my choice.
In recent years, I think Mark Ruffalo has been doing the voice of the Hulk. Is that right?
Yes, because I think he put in a contract he needed to do the voice because I fought hard because I wanted to do the voice for the Hulk and the end game, the Avengers. They took the Hulk in a different direction. I mean, the Hulk's not like what I expected to be. A lot of fans are just at the point that that's why people relate back to the TV series because the TV series is more organic, authentic.
Do you think there has ever been a Hulk movie that has been as good as the TV show?
Well, with Edward Norton did the second Hulk, it was heading in that direction. But then every time they do a Hulk movie, it changes because the special effects is very difficult. I think if they did a Hulk movie now, the old-fashioned way with a good storyline, I think they could have a very successful film. They need to do that because I really believe that could happen.
Well, the thing about your show, Lou, for me, was that you never saw killing or bloodshed or sexual violence or drugs. It was a great show for kids, don't you think?
Yes, because as a matter of fact, one time they had Mr. Rogers come to the set, and Mr. Rogers watched the whole makeup process. I was on his TV show, and that's probably one of the more watched episode in television history because even till today, so that's why you relate to the kids because children, when they see the movies, even now when I do a lot of cons, I talk to adults. They say when they were young, they hide behind the couch, and then they peek up to see the Hulk. They were scared of the Hulk. It had it affected like 3 decades, billions of people.
In 1998, you made a wonderful movie with Rodney Dangerfield and Dom DeLuise called The Godson. What was it like working with those two great comedians?
Oh, they were great. I mean, Tom DeLuise, I mean, in real life, I was friends with him. He had a wonderful sense of humor. I mean, you never know what comes out of his mouth. I could be with him because I saw him when I was young with Burt Reynolds. He done all these movies, and especially I'm good friends with his three sons. But he was a wonderful guy. I really enjoyed being with him. I learned from him. But Rodney Dangerfield, he's one of a kind, especially his humor and his stand-up is amazing.
Do you like doing comedy?
I love it. Yeah. I like the high pressure because when you do if I say, for example, when you do comedy in front of an audience, you can't have more than 2 takes. You have to be on the money. So basically, I like that instant gratification from the crowd.
Now, you appeared in The Offer, which is a miniseries on Paramount Plus about the making of the movie The Godfather. You played Lenny Montana, the actor who played the hitman Luca Brasi in the movie. What was that experience like? You did such a good job.
Well, I was a big fan of The Godfather. I remember 1972 when The Godfather came out. I haven't seen the movie yet, but a bunch of my friends would sit in the corner talking about The Godfather, talking about the scene with Brando, the opening scene. And I kept saying, and then this guy, Lucy Brasi, when I went to see the movie, I was kind of like uh, taken back from him because he was a big guy. But then when I did the research about him, he was a hit man. He killed his own mother. He was very dedicated to the mob boss and everything. So I relate to that because I come from an Italian family. Little did I realize 50 years later, I get to play Lucy Brasi because I love that kind of a character. That's why as an actor, you have to be interested in the character. If you're not interested in the character, it's not going to work.
Did you have fun on the set?
Yes, but the only problem we had because of COVID, we couldn't have visitors. We all had to wear a mask, and we all had to be tested on a daily basis for COVID. It was tough because you're thinking on this set, everybody's got a mask. Then it was time to do the scene. You take the mask off. When the scene completed, then you put the mask back on. So it was kind of fun, but it wasn't like it should be. We were hoping that Pacino, De Niro would swing by on the set. It was a very close set.
Tell me about the time you spent with Michael Jackson as his personal trainer. How well did you get to know him?
Well, he had a doctor named Dr. Steve Hoffman who did plastic surgery. So I remember one time I was friends with Stephen, the doctor, and he said to me, Michael needs some training. He said, I recommend he needs some exercise and training. And he said, you should train Michael. So of course, Michael can't go to a gym. So I met Michael a couple of times, and then basically we collaborated. And then he decided to come to my facility in Santa Monica, and we became friends. He had the privacy being with me. But I found Michael to be a very interesting person, very smart. And that guy, I mean, people loved him. That guy was a genuine person. But it's amazing that if his stature was overcome. So we end up admire each other's passion. I admired his passion for music. He admired my passion for fitness because we both had similar fathers. So we basically became good friends. I spent time later on the Neverland Ranch with him. I mean, Michael was a very funny guy. He had a great sense of humor besides the voice. So it was a great experience for me.
Well, I wish that some of your self-esteem and some of your philosophy of life had rubbed off on him because to me, he never seemed happy.
Well, he was under so much pressure because he had to make a comeback at the age of 50 because I believe he was in debt like over $400 million. But I really think part of it, the fact that had to do with his father, because his father was very hard on him. But Michael's happiness, I think, before he passed on, he had the three children, the three kids with him. But with me, he looked happy. But everybody wants a piece of him. That was hard because everyone enabled him. He had bodyguards, SUVs. It was tough.
You know, Lou, to me, when I've watched you over the years, you've always demonstrated a great sense of humor about your on screen personality. You had a recurring role playing yourself in The King of Queens. You were in a Smosh video called I Love Lou Ferrigno. And of course, in 2016, you even played a Lego version of yourself in Lego Marvel's Avengers. You seem to have no ego. It looks like you have a lot of fun when you play yourself on screen. You don't take yourself very seriously, do you?
No, I have fun everything I do because the fact that, life is short and then the fact that I love challenges and I get excited because every time I do a play, every time I do a TV show, I would give 100%. And especially one of the biggest highlights in my life, I was on Celebrity Apprentice. I was able to raise over $100,000 for my charity, ALS and muscular dystrophy. Because I love challenges because the fact that you got to be excited when you do TV or film because if you're nervous, if you have fear, I mean, why bother? But for me, I just love to challenge it because it's something that I love to climb over hills. There's so many more hills I want to climb over, so many more obstacles I want to overcome. That makes me feel rich inside, the happiness.
What obstacles do you want to overcome now? I mean, to me, you've overcome them all.
I would say go back to do a comedy TV series. I want to go to the next level, meaning, for example, I want to do more serious film, like, for example, playing different characters. Like I did a movie about a year and a half ago called The Hermit. This was about a cannibalistic pig farmer. He makes beef jerky out of people. It was a horror film. I love the character. I read the script because I know how he is, more like a Frankenstein character. So didn't have a chance to finish the film. Eventually, we're going to finish the film. But to me, I like those kind of challenges and obstacles to overcome because in life, you always have obstacles, and that's what makes it exciting because I love taking risks.
Well, quite apart from your acting career, a lot of people may not realize that you've had quite a career in law enforcement. You've been a deputy sheriff in Los Angeles and in Arizona and Ohio, I believe. Tell us about your work being a real superhero.
Well, you see, about 18 years ago, I was talking to the sheriff of LA, and I told him I was very interested in law enforcement because my father was a police lieutenant. And I said, always want to be a sheriff, but not the honorary. He said, you have to go through the academy. So here I am in class. I'm in class with people half my age. I have all these textbooks on my desk. I had to study the rules of the Constitution. It was a big challenge for me because if you fail a test, you go home. I mean, basically, they will give you second, three, two or three chances. You have to do all the shooting, the driving. So to me, that was my biggest accomplishment because I want to be a real life hero, giving back. Because I do a lot of search and rescue with the helicopters. I do a lot of speaking. I go to different sheriff departments to motivate people that, being an officer is a tough situation, even though the public sometimes has the wrong impression that officers sometimes they are brutal to people. So basically that I grew up with law enforcement and it means a lot to me because this country where we're living now, we need more than anything to call community policing. The community and the police work together as far as the leadership and the communication, as far as crime, street crime, perimeter crime, and also crime across the state.
What a great way to give back. And, I'm sure you've thought of this. You are honoring your father's legacy, Lou.
That would probably be the only thing he would have been proud of if he was alive today.
I bet you that he was very proud of you, but he told other people, not you.
Exactly. That's the way it is.
I'm sure of it.
But it's funny, with my kids, I'm the opposite. I give them a lot of attention because growing up over the years, I'm the opposite of my father. I didn't want to be like him. Maybe it's the Italian thing back in the 50s and 60s. But like I said before, you could choose your friends, but you can't choose your parents.
Well, you certainly took the best of your childhood experiences from your parents and turned yourself into a great father. I can't think of a better way to honor that legacy. When I went to your IMDb page, I saw that you're starring in an upcoming movie called The Hermit.
Yeah, they call The Hermit, that the pig farmer movie, yeah.
And when does that come out?
Well, I had to have 3 or 4 more days of filming. So because of the actor strike, the writer strike, so eventually I'll go back to that. So I have different movie offers now, reading different script because I want to do something that make movies in the future that's very heartfelt. Because now Hollywood has accepted diversity. I want to find a good script that's a heartfelt performance I could show and give as an actor to far as like maybe recreate another one of those Marty kind of movies, one of those like Untouchable, something that has a substantial impact on people.
I think you're going to do it. I think
Yeah.
you're going to do it because your own personal story of overcoming unusually, extraordinarily difficult hardships makes you the perfect actor, for an inspirational role. So I think it's going to happen. And one of the most endearing things about you is that you are one of the most available celebrities to your fans. You've appeared at literally hundreds of events all over the world over the years. You've given tens of thousands of fans the opportunity to meet you. Tell me about the feeling you get when fans tell you how much you mean to them.
That means a lot to me because I like that instant gratification, especially how much the Hulk affected their life and my physicality. That people come to me to the table. Sometimes they say, I met you 3 years ago, I lost 100 pounds. Or some people would say to me, my father passed on, but my parents passed on, but they were huge fans of yours. How much they love the show, the episode, that connection. Because I don't do Comic-Con not just for the money, the fact that I appreciate the respect from the fans. It gives me like a high because I feel like respected. I feel like, like I walk away knowing that I had an impact to put a smile on people's faces because as a kid, I would give anything to attend a Comic-Con. I didn't have that. My whole life was comic book, watching TV. Now I see these parents, they bring these kids, sometimes kids with disabilities, people in wheelchairs, they come to the table and they make that connection. At least they get to see their favorite hero, their favorite actor in person. That to me is very powerful because that leaves the impact on the fans.
And you actually have two groups of fans. You have the bodybuilding fans, and then there's the Incredible Hulk fans. Is there a big difference for you between the two groups?
Now, usually two group, like for example, a lot of people that come to Comic-Con, sometimes they're very insecure about themselves, but they want to be there to connect with the superhero. A lot of time when they talk to me, they get involved in fitness and bodybuilding because it's about power.
Well, speaking of being a fan, were you ever starstruck by some of the big stars that you've met in your life?
Yes, as a matter of fact, when I was in the second season filming the Hulk, we were filming by Venice Beach. So I was in full makeup. I was having a cup of coffee, and there was a knock on the door. So I said, "Come in." I wasn't looking. I said, "Come in, come in." The door opened. This guy walked in. He got gray, salt pepper hair, glasses. He had a kid with him, and he said to me, "Excuse me." He said, "My name is Cary Grant. I'm here with my nephew. I'm from England." I looked at him like the way you're looking at me now. My jaw just dropped. I didn't know what to say. He must have really thought I was ready to Hulk. I couldn't speak. I could not speak because growing up as a kid, I mean, Cary Grant, I'm one of the greatest actors of all time. And just me alone in the motorhome, I was so starstruck. And he probably knew that I was so shocked to see him. But just hearing that voice, yeah, that was one of my first experiences.
Wow. Now, as I mentioned in my introduction, Lou, you're a member of the President's Council on Sports, Fitness, and Nutrition, and you're a tremendous role model for people of all ages to live a healthy life. Does it trouble you that so many people, including young people, are overweight and out of shape?
Yeah, that frustrates me because there's so many young people that spend more time texting, playing games, watching TV, not taking get involved in activities for their body of themselves. Like for example, get out there, get some fresh air, play basketball, work out, do some exercising. It's basically eating poorly, not doing exercising, and obesity is a big part of this country because they're not eating properly and they're depressed. Sometimes they just consume food to have an antidote for their own pain.
Now, you're also a very inspirational role model for people who are hard of hearing or deaf. You've done a lot of motivational speaking all over the world. What's the key message that you give to people to inspire them?
Well, there's a lot of people. They say 1 out of 3 Americans in this country had a hearing problem. I see so many individual people get older, they lose the hearing, they feel isolated, they get very angry, frustrated. That's where over the years I had a chance to wear the best hearing aids, and then like Starkey hearing aids. And then eventually 2.5 years ago, I received a cochlear implant. The beauty about a cochlear implant, if you're a candidate, if you're an older person, any age, that you would never lose any of that hearing until you pass on, because it works with the brain waves and the cochlear nerve, everything. But there's so much more motivation that, like, not like many years ago when you were told that you had a severe hearing loss, you won't feel like you're doomed, that you're hopeless. But basically, there's so many ways you can improve yourself and so many ways to improve the hearing situation.
So when you think of Lou Ferrigno, the child that you were, who so desperately wanted to be somebody, are you proud of what you've accomplished in your life?
Yeah, I'm very proud. I'm very happy because I know that I never have to look over my shoulder because there's nothing I have done that's been disrespectful to anyone. I have no skeletons in my closet. And I'm very happy with myself. I have nothing to prove, and I'm just happy that every day I wake up, I have my health, knowing that I put a smile on my face and I enjoy life to its fullest.
Do you ever think about your legacy as an athlete, as an actor, as a human being, how you would like the world to remember you?
Do you remember me as the incredible Lou Ferrigno? Nobody's more incredible than I am, especially what I've overcame, especially with my physicality, my hearing, my speech, my drive, everything. So I consider myself lucky to be that kind of a person.
And I consider myself enormously lucky that I had the chance to meet you and have this chance to talk with you about your amazing life, your career. Thank you so much, Lou, for taking the time to appear on our show. You've made me a very happy boy today.
Thank you for your support. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Our guest has been the Incredible Hulk himself, the wonderful Lou Ferrigno. My name is Harvey Brownstone. Thank you to my producer, Steve Silver, my director of programming, Deborah Batsafin, my production assistants, Rosa Puzo and Robert Monaghan, my PR directors, Eileen Shapiro and Jimmy Starr, and my entire team at the XPTV1 network in the UK. And a very special thanks to my dear friend, Edward Losey. Thank you all for joining us. See you next time.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to check out all the great interviews on the Harvey Brownstone Interviews YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified when new videos are posted.